coming, because as people wake up and they say, wait a minute, I'm listening to this guy, he's making a decent point. He's talking about the fact that that we're being controlled through a monetary-based unreality. That really is something that's unique to every other creature. There's no other creature that would tolerate this. This is absurd. This is ridiculous. And the last thing you want to do is to get in a position to say, well, I'm good. I conquered it, and I'm rich now, and I'm safe and secure. Jesus spoke against this. You never want to have that attitude. Your security lies in his hands. Every breath you breathe, every day is a gift from above that he can take away at any moment. He has that capability to take your very life at any time. So understand who really owns your life. At the end, who should you revere? And I use that term like fear. It's interchangeable. But God is the one that deserves our reverence. If you're to fear anyone, fear God alone, okay? Not these monsters, okay, that are running our lives, that are creating the policy, are creating all the problems around the world. All this immigration, all these unstable countries, even next door to America. We got, just south of our south border, Mexico is very unstable. All the gun violence, it's like they're having a war on the whole country down there because they banned guns. So people can't even protect themselves. You always got to watch out for the drug cartels. What, 70, 80,000 people now have been killed in this war, and you wonder why it's wrong to do drugs? Don't have anything to do with the drugs they're bringing in. Okay, you don't want any part of that blood on your hands. But all this instability around the world, okay, is intentional. Because out of chaos, out of these crises, these people gain more power and control. They are made relevant. Oh, you need us now. You got this crisis and that crisis. And oh, don't be mean to all the migrants that, that want to come in because they're fleeing and because of all these problems. Who caused the problems? Let's go upstream from where the dead bodies keep floating down the river and find out what's causing the dead bodies to fall into the river. And if you do that, you can stop it. They know that we're figuring everything out. To go to the root cause and put the axe to the root. That is what we must do. And that means that we, the people, if we don't get control of the issuance of the currency, then you can expect the problem to keep on increasing. Okay, the poverty level is going to keep on growing. The middle class is being destroyed. The wealth disparity is going to keep growing. If you're a high school student, the next time you're in school, I got a daughter that recently just started teaching in San Diego. But she's learning at least. She's just got her foot in the door. But, ask your high school teacher, if you get into anything that deals with economics, numbers, whatever, the course might be in high school. I don't think they teach much economics, maybe home ec or something like that. But, ask your teacher, about capitalism. See what they know about true capitalism, some of those fundamental components I mentioned earlier. And ask them why the wealth disparity keeps growing. And, if Martin Luther King Jr., by him being here, helped, where would he stand on the condition, the state of affairs in America today? Or JFK, about how the Federal Reserve has taken over everything, and what your teacher thinks about quantitative easing. Ask some of these questions that are going to show that, a high school kid can be smarter than their teacher on a lot of these issues if you're paying attention. Ask your teacher if they understand fundamental principles of the law of supply and demand. If they understand about a free market as opposed to a manipulated market where you've got price fixing and collusion of different special interest groups. But ask those hard questions. My daughter, she's heard me talk about these things plenty, so she ought to know. But, whether her ears were open or not, I don't know. But I'm sure she's good at teaching the fundamental things. She's into English, so this might not be her forte personally. But, there's other teachers out there you have an opportunity to ask some of these questions too. But understand this, that poverty is the single most essential ingredient these people need to keep in place. They cannot have you figure out that there's no reason for poverty because people are willing to serve. They love their jobs. It fulfills, and like King Solomon puts out, nothing under the sun is more satisfying, gratifying, and fulfilling to a man than to go out and serve his fellow man. But he's got to feel appreciated. Like what he's doing is important, that people really want him doing these things. Okay, that is the most important thing. Doing it for money just takes all the fun out of it, That's it. You're doing it to survive. You're doing it for that reward. You're playing the game, okay? We all get that, okay? But what's more important is that you're going to a job and you're serving because you feel like you're contributing and you're doing something that, is appreciated and needed and wanted by your fellow man. That gives you the satisfaction. You come home at the end of a day and you feel, wow, that it really felt good. I really did something. I was productive. I was constructive. I contributed to the well-being of my fellow man, to society, to the community, to the civilization. So understand that the reason we have poverty is not because there's a shortage of money. This isn't why your roads are falling apart, okay? This is all conjured up. This is made up. This is fraud upon fraud, credit default swaps, derivatives. All this stuff is just more lies upon lies, heaped upon lies, because it's a Ponzi scheme. There's no way out. Janet Yellen, the new Fed, she was talking about raising the interest rates a tiny bit, but she backed off because she knows that would herald in the end of the Ponzi scheme, because they couldn't do this quantitative easing anymore, where they just keep on pumping money into this Wall Street and give it this facade. You bring on this charade of, oh, the economy's doing great. They tell you unemployment's great, but everybody in the real world knows, hey, I can't get enough work in my trade. I mean, that's it. Look around you, talk to people. Who's getting all the work they need? And meanwhile, your cost of living goes up. The landlords say, hey, minimum wage went up, so let me have a piece of that, okay? And so it goes on and on. The minimum wage, you wonder how the wealth disparity happens, okay? Because wages have not kept up with the cost of living. It's that simple. So when people are opposed to cost of living adjustments, I say, well, wait a minute, that means you're in favor of perpetual wage decreases, because mathematically speaking, there's absolutely no difference between decreasing wages with an increasing cost of living and between not giving somebody a cost of living increase as the cost of living grows. I mean, it's very simple stuff if you think about it. It's just like these people with the vaccine argument, And some of the footage on this money bomb was that they covered some of the campaign, debates. But, it's that same thing with these people that want to push vaccines. I mean, this is Nazistic to me. Okay, you're gonna tell me in America, you think you're gonna force a needle on me or my kids? Okay, go to hell. I mean, it's as simple as that. If your kid is inoculated, if your kid is vaccinated, keep your murderous hands off my child, okay? That's it. If I want to research vaccines and I want to say, yes, I believe in this vaccine, but not this one, I say, wait, you've got these inferior and superior vaccines. You give the superior ones to the elite class that can afford the good vaccines with the good adjuvants, and you give these crappy vaccines to the poor people that can't afford the superior adjuvants. Okay, I know what's going on. I've researched this. So you better have people's consent before you go thinking you're going to force vaccines on them or their children. Not in America. It's not going to happen. This is not China, as much as some people want it to be China. So many establishmentarians out there would like to bring the conditions of, the worst aspects of Mexico or India and China and, Syria, and bring those aspects to America, all this chaos. They want violence. They want unrest. They want destabilization everywhere. Okay, that's what they want. This is how they stay relevant. But their time is coming to an end. And some people would argue, well, listen, look, the earth is overpopulated. I believe that now because the science is in, the earth's reach is carrying all this nonsense. I mean, to me, it's like, good God, this is God's issue, man. When the earth is populated to God's satisfaction, he just pulls the fertility plug. It's that simple. One more tiny miracle in his hands. Trust God for these issues. Don't trust the Pope, the Antichrist. Believe God on these issues. Okay? I mean, it's absurd what we're being fed and believed. And then you've got all this, clean energy technology that's being suppressed. That's a matter of record. That's a matter of fact. They don't want you to have that. Understand, if your money is in oil, then the oil is the same as money. And the last thing you want is somebody rendering your particular money to be irrelevant, because, hey, you know what? We could be running everything on hydrogen that the car makes itself from from 12-volt battery pack. So you know what? There's solutions to every single problem out there. But you know what? They don't want that. And that's the most important thing that any of us can really understand, is understand that there is solutions. Use your God-given imagination on your own and say, what about this specific problem? They say, God, show me how that specific problem could be solved, okay, and how a world would work. Prepare yourselves for a world that's free from money. Understand that. Because this is literally a competing God. These are the words of Jesus. You can't serve two masters. You can't love and serve God and love and serve the world and the money. That's like loving and serving Satan and God at the same time. It doesn't work. You're of dual mind. You're split personality,